Good morning.
You are live with us here at First Baptist Crowley. I'm
Absolutely.
Keith, and this is Pastor Aaron.
Dads with coffee.
We're just a couple dads drinking coffee.
You know, I've had some thoughts, and some people, I think, wonder why we call it dads with coffee instead of pastors with coffee. I mean, I know my reasoning. I didn't know, and I think that we are in agreement about that. You know, the idea of dads with coffee is because we are just trying to show the reality of who we are.
We're more than just pastors.
Right. And frankly, I take my role as dad in priority.
Right, God Family Church.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a healthy relationship, right?
It's a healthy relationship, yes. It's a relationship that my mentors have taught me, my educators have taught me, but not all churches accept that. They will in name, but they don't always.
Sometimes you need a sip.
I'm out of the box hot today.
Good morning, Janet. Good to see you here this morning. We're just bringing up every controversial topic ever known to man. If you have some controversy that you'd like to spill the tea on, send it in. We'll talk about it because, hey,
We'll talk about anything.
we're just a couple of dads sipping on coffee. And, you know, my mom used to work at a coffee shop.
Okay.
She was the breakfast cook, right? The line cook. And she would make, you know, the best biscuits and gravy you ever ate from scratch.
Right.
Any kind of egg you could ever want. But the best thing that they ever made there was donut holes. And you can get
Those are pretty much the best thing anyway.
These were so much better than anything you've ever tasted. You've had beignets? Yeah, you've had beignets.
Yes.
My mom would make these powdered donut holes. I didn't know what a beignet was
Because you hadn't been in New Orleans yet.
until I got to New Orleans. And I was like, this tastes like mom's donut holes. It's got so much powdered sugar, but that has nothing to do with it. She worked at a coffee shop. And the guy, she would get the same group of people, especially Saturday mornings.
Right.
Just a bunch of old men talking about the weather and figuring out all the world's problems all together every Saturday morning. I feel like that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
We're just
right.
a couple of old men drinking coffee, figuring out all the world's problems.
We had a donut shop when the kids were growing up, younger. We had a donut shop in town, and once a week I would take them for donuts with Dad. Usually on a Friday. We'd go in a little early. We'd get a couple donuts and milk, and then I'd take them to school, and that was just kind of our thing we did. So,
Funny story. We left church last night. We decided to go to Crumble to get a cookie.
oh yes, which location?
Over the new one over in Fort Worth, by the toll road.
Okay,
That's where
McPherson.
Emma Peterson works. So
Oh, cool.
go over there, leave a big tip.
That's right.
Get a big fat cookie for $5.
It'll be the biggest cookie that you.
It's
ever
gigantic.
eaten.
I
Yeah.
couldn't eat the whole thing at one sitting, and I can eat a lot of cookies. I'm checking out, and the cashier, the young lady there, she's like, "Would you like a note?" I guess you can give these things as a gift.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
These were
So they're
just
big
going-
enough for gift purchase.
I got a 6-pack of cookies that came in a donut box. Okay, that gives you an idea how big these cookies are.
Well, that's how Insomnia Cookies does too, up in college towns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, similar. You can buy a 6-pack and have it delivered.
Well, you could easily.
Cookies,
Yeah, a 6-pack of cookies.
by the way.
We know what college towns do. Anyway,
So you get
so
this
she
big
says,
cookie.
"Would you like a note?"
Right.
And Evan says, "Yes, chocolate." What? She says she had a mask on, right?
Okay.
Would you like a note?
Which is like another, maybe is what.
Would you like a note? Evan heard, "Would you like a milk?"
Well, we know what's on Evan's mind all the time.
And of course, Evan had a chocolate milk at 9 o'clock at night because he's trying to put on weight.
If he's not drinking milk, he's not living.
He does put away some milk. If you have a cow, you got some pasteurized milk, I can help you out. Or chickens. If you have a ton of eggs, the boy eats eggs like
Yeah.
it's just solid protein. Anyway, he's trying to get bigger, trying to start on the offensive line again this year. So
Right.
he's a little undersized, but he's got a big heart. So Tuesday, I listened to your podcast, your what do you call it?
Talk It Out
Tuesdays? Talk
Tuesday.
It Out Tuesdays.
Yep.
You talked about a calling,
Yes. Yes.
and I thought, I can understand what you're saying here.
Yes.
All Christians are called to minister.
Yes.
Not all Christians are called to be a full-time minister
Right.
or even a part-time minister. And I like the way you said part-time minister because
It's
in
real.
the world that we live in your average sized U.S. churches that aren't the
Yep.
big mega churches
No,
that have
there's really only if you want to just drill it down to Southern Baptist life, less than 1% of churches would be in the category of mega church.
right.
I mean, less than 1%. Now they get all the attention, but less than 1%
Well, that seems to be the theme in our
in our whole world.
anyway.
Yeah, 80% of the churches run under 100 people on a Sunday morning.
Right. And so you can't expect to have multiple full-time staff
No,
members
you
just simply
can't.
because you can't pay them.
Yeah, it's not financially.
So they're
capable.
bivocational, they're co-vocational.
Yes.
A phrase that I'd never heard before.
Well, I had just heard it last year when we visited Portland for
Oh, okay,
the
yeah.
vision trip. That's when I first heard that because that's something that church planners are doing. They're coming out of college with graphic design, art, business majors, things of that nature. And the idea of trying to find something that allows you to earn money
Right.
and do ministry simultaneously is something that's different than the way it was for years before. The bivocational meant I went to a job and in a lot of ways had nothing to do with
Right.
the other. But now they're wanting to co-op it and say, can we do something?
Yeah, that's brand new.
It
I've
is.
never heard
Yeah,
of that.
it is. I think it's great. With technology, you can do that.
Yes, you can.
And they're all in some tech job. Gig
Well, why not?
economy, tech job, that's what they're all doing it because they have the time. So anyway,
So I remember, and a lot of people may not have heard my call to ministry testimony, but I was at camp at Falls Creek, and it was a Thursday night. I keep saying it's July 6th, but I'm pretty sure it was July 7th because I can look back to the year.
and see what the Thursday night date was.
Right. So it was July 6th, 2012. I hit my 20-year mark in the Navy,
Right.
which was a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
In the Navy, you call that options day,
Okay.
right?
Right. What do I do now?
Because I can stay in or I can get out with a paycheck.
Right.
So I knew I had options. Well, God knew he had bigger plans than options.
He had plans, not options.
Right, he had a plan. He had a plan. And so the next night, Thursday night, typically at Falls Creek, is the
big push.
the push for ministry.
Yes.
Now they talk about it all week long, but Thursday, there's a specific invitation for those that are feeling called to ministry.
Right.
And so that Thursday night, I had Alex Wachowski standing next to me. It's spelled Wachowski if you're looking for him. Alex Wachowski's to my left, and Joanna was to my right. And we had finished the whole service, and I'm camp counselor mode. I'm not in God talk to me mode.
Right.
I'm in God talk to them mode. So
Right.
I'm praying for Alex that he would answer the call to ministry. And Alex is in ministry now. He's in a praise band at another church, and he's doing great things. But God wasn't calling Alex that night,
Right.
and so I'm steady praying and ignoring what's going on over here or in here, and then focusing my attention on what I want to do and how I want to pray.
Right.
So finally, God just hit me with a sledgehammer
Sometimes he has to do that.
and said, "It's not him, it's you."
Right.
Okay, that's a tough pill to swallow.
I had to go to the hospital.
To answer a call to ministry?
Yeah, I did. That's how stubborn I was. Go ahead.
I
Bill.
wasn't that bad.
You didn't grow up in a pastor's home.
You're right. You're right.
It's right. It's just different.
So I'm immediately, I just take off and go down. And I think Joanna chased me or Tim chased me. Someone went with me.
Right.
I don't remember who it was.
You don't know who it is.
Marcus and Peter were still in high school. Courtney was still in high school. It was Kristen's graduation year. So all these kids that have been here forever. And so that was the best night of in-cabin worship that we've had in a long time after I answered the call to full-time ministry. And it was 2 years later that the position came available here.
Yeah.
And here we are, having Dads with Coffee.
There you
Coffee
go.
with Dads. After a call to ministry.
After a call to ministry. Yeah, I had to go to. He had to walk me through.
So
the
hospital.
first.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of hospitals.
Yes, I have too. I was in college, and I was in college with the plan of medicine.
Right.
And so, I mean, I was chemistry major, biology minor. I was in the pre-med track, blowing it up, whatever. And I had made a commitment when I went to college that I wanted a change in my life. Mm-hmm. I had done a lot of rebellious issues and things during my high school time.
Of course.
Mostly against my dad, and then I transferred it to God, but I was just an angry young man at the time. Dad hadn't always been a pastor. He became a pastor after 1980 through the Patco strike, lost his job, and to his fairness, he finally answered the call that he had been given at 17, but he finally answered the call, and so I was just angry, and so I went to college, and I decided, I don't want. I want to be a different person.
Did you punch a wall or something?
When
you had to go to the hospital? Were you in the hospital or was someone else in the hospital?
No, I had to go to the hospital. So here I am, hearing from God that He wants me to go into ministry, and I'm still refusing Him at freshman year. And I'm like, God, so I do the Gideon thing. I've got, I have a passion for these things. You're going to have to take that away for me to want to make this change.
Challenging.
And then organic chemistry came along.
Ryan Warren, I hope you're listening. Organic chemistry. Ryan got to take that class twice.
Yeah, well, I took it once because I changed majors after it.
Yeah, well, Ryan was not going to move from his chemistry major.
Sure.
Actually, biology major, chemistry minor. Anyway.
Right. And, so I end up...
Organic chemistry.
I'm not doing very well by midterm in that. Complicating the fact was, unknown to me, I was developing some polyps in my colon. And so I'm sitting at lunch, doubled over in pain. I've got to go to the emergency room, get scoped, all the fun things,
Yay.
Have those extracted, and and then I realize I'm failing organic chemistry on top. I'm like, okay, fine, fine.
You win.
I
relent.
And so we had our fall tent revival. I went to a Baptist school, went to our fall tent revival, and I was attending that anyway, and surrendered to the call to ministry. I think every believer should have a calling to the vocation that they're in.
Right.
I don't care what it is. I don't think you should randomly end up in a job. I think you need to think through what God's planned for you in your vocation. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people think, well, God only cares about those in ministry. No, God cares He has a plan for every vocation.
Yeah.
Ours, a call to ministry, I think, is extremely important because of the high, as I talked about the other day, the higher accountability, the higher judgment, the higher responsibilities. I think you have to have that firm conviction. I've been called to this. I didn't luck into it. I didn't, I read one individual that said, you can like it and you can be a volunteer in it. That doesn't mean that you're prepared to lead it.
Right.
And
Yeah, there's a lot of difference there.
I think it was Spurgeon or one of the guys in the 1800s, early 1900s that said, if you can do anything else and be happy at it, go do that. And I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
And so but with that, it was easy. Now, see, you and I came at it at different points in our life.
Yeah.
I
was.
You came at it. You already had a family. I was on my own still, and so I end up at seminary, and Dulcie comes along, and fulfilling the call when it's me or when it's just my wife and I. It's good and bad. It's good because there's no real home needs. I mean,
Right.
we're both grown adults. We can deal with it. But when kids come along,
Totally different ballgame.
it's a different ball game, and you need to prioritize. And I think this is true for every job. If the job you have, ministry or otherwise, if the job you have is causing you to fail as a father, that's the wrong job for you.
Right. And see that God had a plan long before I retired from the Navy, right? Number one, God put us in this church in 2006.
Right.
We literally visited one church. This was the only church we ever went to. In 06 when we moved here. If I had not answered a call to ministry in 2012, when 2014 came along and it was time for me to get orders, I would have either ended up on the East Coast,
Right.
traveling 9 months a year,
Yep.
or the West Coast,
Traveling 9 months a year. Yeah.
right? That was the only two options I had.
You were going to a seaport.
Go to this
And traveling.
Go to this mine countermeasure squadron where you are at the pointy end of the spear all the time,
Right. Right.
or go to this place and go inspect
Sure.
too many squadrons every year, or retire and be the youth minister at First Baptist Crowley. So I chose to retire.
Sure.
It wasn't an easy decision, man. I had an old Master Chief friend of mine. He said to me, Kirby was my Navy name, if you don't know that. He said, Kirb, you need to retire. You need to answer God's call. You need to stay here and you need to take care of your family.
Right.
And to have someone that is
In it.
2 years from 30,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I could probably do 30,
Sure.
that
You could have.
I think I would have made E8 that next year.
Right.
Right? I think my name would have been on the list.
Right. If
I
your
was-
shoulder and back could have held up for 10 more years.
I was to that point. They would have kept me again. It
Yeah.
would have been fine. But then Navy medicine. Anyway,
You could have.
he knew the potential that I had,
Sure.
but also understood the long-term potential of my life,
Yeah.
which was outside the Navy. You never expect a Master Chief to give you career advice
To go
that
outside of
ends
it.
with "get out." you just don't hear it.
Right.
We were sitting over in the goat locker on a Thursday. If you don't know, Thirsty Thursdays, Navy people drink a lot of beer. I don't know if you know this. I drink a lot of Mountain Dew. And so we were just hanging out. We were having, I don't know, whatever, tacos or spaghetti and meatballs,
Right.
whatever it was, on that Thursday. See, that didn't leave a mark on me.
Right.
The 30-year Master Chief, who had been there, done that, and seen it all, said, "Get out."
Yeah.
And then I had just been at church the Sunday night before, and I went forward and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm literally torn in half here, because for 22 years, that's all I had ever known.
Right.
And that, I'm telling you, I love the Navy. I love the travel. I love the people. I loved working on airplanes. I loved all that. And I had to step away from that and to leave a a fraternity that I was in of chief petty officers. Not leaving, but leaving it from
Right.
everyday life.
Right.
To step away from that into the unknown was difficult,
Sure.
very difficult. But it was the right decision at that time. So here we are again, Dads with Coffee. Kirby, yeah. So look, a funny story about Kirby. I walk into my very first squadron, VP 68 in Washington, D.C. I got my dress whites on. It was like the last week in dress whites. And I walk in and, I'm 19-year-old. I'd come from Jacksonville, Florida, so I had a really good tan. I played beach volleyball every day. If you can believe that, seeing me now. Yeah, I was in really good shape.
Were you in Top Gun shape?
I was in Top Gun shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a six-pack. Never had a six-pack, but I didn't work out like that. I just wanted to play volleyball.
I just envision the Top Gun volleyball scene.
Similar, very similar. I know. Now, I haven't been on those beaches just like that, where there's a lot of tomfoolery, if you will.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Anyway, sorry.
We were in Puerto Rico one year, and we're outside playing beach volleyball, and we had this one pilot. He looked like a troll. I'm telling you, he was like 5'4", and just like a fire hydrant.
Right. And he was a pilot?
Yeah, we was big airplanes, so
Yeah.
you don't have to be real. I mean,
They don't want you real tall.
seats are adjustable.
They never wanted you real tall.
Actually, we had some really tall pilots because I worked on really big airplanes. So
Okay.
fighter jocks, no.
Right.
P3 guys,
Oh, yeah.
C40 guys,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter.
They can be whatever they want. But this guy, he goes after a ball, and he dives, and we had telephone poles
Oh,
for standards
oh boy.
for the net. And he hit the pole, and the pole grunted.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I thought we lost it. I thought he had knocked the pole over.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, I check into my very first squadron, and there was a guy there by the name of Jim Wardock. He wasn't in the Navy. He was a tech rep. So he was like the technical expert on P-3 airplanes on the East Coast. And he was at our squadron, worked with us every day, taught me everything I know about being an electrician. And I said, "Good morning, my name's Airman Apprentice Keith Warren." He says, "Hey, Kirby." I was like, "No, it's Keith Warren." "All right, Kirby. Well, let's go get your check-in sheet. Let's get you checked in." And from that day,
He just made it up.
right there on the spot. It's kind of like Skeeter. It just happens.
Right.
It just happens.
Well, you put hat and boots on, Skeeter just comes out.
Comes out. I mean, he's the dude.
Yeah.
Connor Retzlaff, Skeeter. So, yeah, Kirby. That's
That's wild.
that was my Navy name.
I thought there
for-
might be more of a story behind that.
No,
but
that's it. That's the whole thing.
That's so, uninspiring. I mean,
I know, right?
I thought it would be more, man.
No.
No, just he showed up, you Kirby.
And I'm telling you, if you go to the base now and ask for Chief Warren or
They don't know who
Keith Warren,
They don't know who it is.
they probably know who Chief Warren is.
Right.
But if you ask for Kirby, most of them be like, "Oh yeah, we know Kirby." They don't know Keith.
They don't keep 22 years.
Yeah, a couple guys do, but I have one guy. I'm just on a tangent now. Tommy, he would call me Keith. He's the only one that called me Keith in the shop. I don't know why. Everybody else called me Kirby. He called me Keith.
Maybe he didn't like you.
No, he did. He loved me.
That's
He
why.
would tell you every day, "I love you, man," and he meant it.
Yeah.
He was,
Yeah.
or is, still is. So, Tommy, I love you too.
Well, hey, we got a TV we got to take down.
Yeah, and I got a homeschool group coming in today, and we got algebra boot camp coming in today. So I got to
And the
go.
Beast going up today. So
Big gigantic air handler units going in today. TV's got to come down. Kay, send Bill over real quick, and
he can help us. He can help guide
he
it
can help
down.
us take this TV down. But that's it. Yeah, Laura, we'll tell that story another time. We'll leave people interested in your comment there. But yeah,
Now, the next couple of weeks, we will have Dads with Coffee, but it's likely going to be a pre-record because we've got a lot of things happening in our own lives that we might have
I think
to do some
next week
pre-records.
we're live, huh?
Yes.
No, next week.
No, I'll have
Next
to leave.
week he's going to get Sam.
Well, it depends on whether his test is going to be online or in person.
okay.
If it's in person, either way, I should be able to do it live.
Okay, so next week
To,
will be
to be
live.
determined.
But the week after, Ryan graduates from college, so I'll be in Corpus.
Yep.
Week after that, my niece graduates from high school, so I'll be in Missouri. And then I think the next week we're back. So it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks of pre-records.
Next week should be live, and then the two after that will be pre-records.
If you got something for real, if you guys have something you want us to talk about,
We'll,
to get our opinions on.
we'll take
'cause,
suggestions.
look, it's just most of what we say is the only facts that we have are the facts from the Bible. Everything else is an opinion.
Nine
be
times out
honest.
of 10, we show up at 5 minutes to 8 o'clock and ask,
What are we talking
what are we
about?
going to talk about today?
I don't know. He says, I talked about the call Tuesday. How about that? Heck yeah, I'll talk about when God called me to ministry.
Absolutely.
So, hey, we
All
got
right.
work to do.
Yep.
Love you guys.
You guys have a great day.
See you next week.